All right, our feature story tonight focuses on people that are closer to us than we realize. And I'm talking about our neighbors. Whether you live in an apartment or house, chances are you have people living next door. But do you actually know your neighbors? Well, many of us don't, unfortunately. And joining us tonight with some neighborly advice, this is Ronda. She writes a real estate column in the New York Times. Ronda, good to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's a good subject, and it is a problem, right? A lot of people just don't know each other.
It is. Americans are far less likely to know their neighbors today than we were a generation ago.
Right.
Today, 30% of Americans don't know any of their neighbors,
wow.
And that's a complete reversal.
What is it, technology and all that stuff that's helping?
That is playing a big part in it. You know, if you're spending your time on social media and not looking up from your phone, it's hard to break the ice.
That's true.
We also work really long hours, and we have longer commutes. We live farther from our offices.
I know.
Many Americans get home and they never even see their neighbors at all coming out.
Well, you've written about this, right? And you know that it is important for us to be neighborly, to get to know the people that live around us.
Certainly. You know, Americans have epidemic levels of loneliness, and relationships with your neighbors are a low-risk, high-reward relationship. You don't have to put much effort into it, and you can get a lot out. Say hello a few times and maybe someone will shovel your walk in the snow or watch the kids.
Like the good old days, right?
Right.
A lot of people, especially here in New York, say, oh, you don't remember what it was like. It was great. You know, the doors were open. You didn't even have to lock your doors. The neighbors would come over and we'd all have fun together.
Certainly. And kids used to play on the street more, out in the suburbs, and they don't do that as much. People have much more structured lives, highly scheduled. There's very little time to just relax and get to know the people who you have nothing necessarily in common with except that you live next to each other.
But Ronda, a lot of the landlords, too, are taking it upon themselves to create events for adults and for children to get people together.
Yes, it seems a little surprising, but it's happening primarily in the luxury market. You're seeing it in new condos and new rental buildings where landlords are offering all sorts of programming. They're offering wine tastings on Friday night and face painting for kids. And
are they popular?
They are. I've been told that 60 to 70% of the people who are RSVP come. I went on an apple picking
What was it like? You were there?
Yes. There was about 50 people came. They went on buses and they were driven up to Warwick, New York, and we picked apples all day.
So you think they made friends? I mean, that works?
Some people did. Some people stuck with the people they came with, but people who came alone definitely mingled, and now you have a face that you recognize that you didn't know before.
That's nice. Well, you know, even in the suburbs, too, you know, I mean, some of the homes are far apart and the kids are always busy going to different events, different things, sports and so forth. Tough to really get neighborly.
It's hard to break the ice. I think people are shy. You're worried people will think you're strange if you say hello, but most people respond really well if you just try. And you know, if you're throwing a party, you could take a risk and maybe invite the neighbors.
Why not?
You never know.
No, there are some apps we know that are out there to help you out, but in general, some good advice. How should people go about making friends with their neighbors?
Well, I would start by just looking up from your phone. Say hello when you see someone. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them if their dog is okay. If they're going on vacation, offer to feed the cat for them.
Yeah, do things like that.
Those little tips help a lot. And again, if you're having an event, invite someone over. Ask them if they want to have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee.
Nice. Mr. Rogers had the right idea.
He did.
Won't you be my neighbor?
He certainly did.
Ronda, thank you so much for being here, okay?
Thank you.
Good neighborly advice for all of us.
Thank you so much.
Can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Yeah, definitely.
Why not?
I've always got some.
Okay.